Taurus, this is your December 2022 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then this is your reading. It's Romy here. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in as we wrap this year up. I'm going to give you some key astrological dates and intuitive messages to look out for. So we're opening up with the energy of the Nine of Wands, and there's some deep discussions taking place for you this month. And it might have taken you a long time to get to this point, because I feel like you're finally ready to face something. And really it's immaterial as to the way in which you finally arrived at this, or what you've had to go through in order to kind of reconcile or to come into a place of acceptance. Now there's an indication here that you might be feeling quite depleted energetically, emotionally, physically, and yet at the same time we're almost there. There's a sense of perseverance here, and in this month of deep reflection it is important that you give yourself the time and space to really face whatever it is that's coming up for you, because I think it's an important marker. It's a crossroads moment, I think, watershed even, that, you know, once you allow this energy to sort of move through you, what comes in on the other side of it feels very vibrant, and it feels very expansive and full of opportunity. But for one reason or another, it's maybe just taken quite some time to kind of finally get to this moment. Now, we're going to be welcoming both Neptune and Chiron, the healing feeling planets, shifting direct this month. Neptune on the 3rd and Chiron shifting direct on the 23rd. This means that we get to become more comfortable again with some of the creative visions, the dreams, the possibilities, and also we reflect very deeply on the healing crisis and the healing journey that we've been through pertaining to different aspects of our life. But we're still, of course, in Mars retrograde, and we're going to have a final Mercury retrograde before the year is out, happening on the 29th, of course, shadow coming in mid-month. So, you know, that opportunity for some nostalgia, some reworking, revisiting, and reconnecting. Of course, it can be a really beautiful time of year to experience that transit, because it does bring people back from the past. And of course, during holiday season, that's sometimes, you know, a nice experience to sort of come back together and really recognize the ways in which perhaps you've changed, and now where you might find a new meeting point of understanding or something new in common. I think with people from the past is also what's showing up for me for you in this regard. Now, we've got Mercury shifting into Capricorn and Venus moving into Capricorn this month on the 6th and on the 9th. And in a fellow earth sign, that's also going to feel a little bit more harmonious for you in terms of the energetic conversations that are taking place. You have a point to make this month, Taurus, and I think in some regards you have to take a stand, because maybe you're going to see how something's playing out. You've got a vantage point or insight that perhaps not everybody does in regards to this situation, and I think it's going to serve you well to take some sort of charge of something so that you can limit the fallout or potentially what you see unraveling. We know that this is a season of triggers on multiple levels, so how can you make it easier for yourself? Is there one thing that you can drop or move or push back? Because you're going to want more space, you're going to welcome the time, and I think that Hermit energy, you know, which is natural at this time of year, that sort of inward looking, introspective, quiet need. And it's so interesting, isn't it, that, you know, the solstice energy that's coming in on the 21st invites this still point, and in the northern hemisphere reflects this winter season where everything is in a time of quietness and stillness, and yet the season that comes upon us is full of excess and frenzy and overwhelm. And so, you know, there's always that sort of energetic conflict that plays out through the month. And in Sagittarius season, with it being mutable energy, there's this kind of spinning out that tends to happen. So, you know, you're looking for the stillness in the chaos. You're looking to find peace in the pieces of you that have felt perhaps bruised, perhaps scattered, and maybe even a little bit beaten. But at the same time, the Hermit's telling me that the wisdom that you have, the way that you are gaining from what has unfolded in the last 12 months is putting you in quite a powerful position for this rebirth. Because remember, as we're into Sagittarius season, we're working with your 8th house. Now that also means that there's going to be some very deep discussions taking place for you in regards to investment, shared resources. And again, I feel the readiness to face something on that front as well. So I think this is going to be a big month. It's more than likely that that eclipse in your sign in November brought about this powerful transformation. Maybe there's some major endings that you're now sort of in the process of mopping up or coming to terms with in some regard. There's a vulnerability that's being shown here in regards to a situation. But at the same time, like that phoenix rising from the ashes energy is quite profound. And I think that if you're really honest with yourself, there's within you this innate need to actually see how life can change and how life can be different. The full moon in Gemini coming in your 2nd house on the 7th of the month challenges you to speak up for your worth, Taurus. So however you are being treated, whatever situation you find yourself in, that full moon and its revelation may provoke, may rile, may bring about some, conversations that need you to take a stand and to make a point. And I feel that you will, because there's more at stake here. It's not even just about the recognition of something that needs to be in a more just, fair, balanced sort of state of being, and the recognition of you knowing your worth. But I think there's just an awareness on your part that, again, I feel not everybody is tuned into or taking into consideration. And that's the impact on others, perhaps family members, friendships, relationships, the community. It's just like there's this knowing that you have right now about what needs to be done, why it needs to happen in that way, and why you're positioned where you are in order to kind of be the person that can make that happen or lead the way or act as a catalyst for change. So I think it's quite a powerful revelationary moon in that regard. Now, one of the things I've been highlighting for the soul stories this month is that Jupiter has these 3 really powerful squares taking place in December. We've got one on the 5th, one on the 9th, and one on the 21st. Now, the 5th and the 9th, Jupiter will still be in Pisces, and it's flanking that full moon. Now, when we have these squares with Jupiter, there's a reminder not to overcommit, not to overstretch. Remember, Jupiter amplifies anything that it's put its gaze upon. And so if we get into a situation where we're making promises, and again, around that full moon, there's a tendency for sort of the overcommit or things coming and being exacerbated, if you like, and especially through words, as it's in Gemini. So, we have to remind ourselves that our words, our spells, they have power, not only in terms of others, but also for ourselves, the commitments that we make, and then the cause and effect of that. So just be a little bit mindful. Remember, this is a month with, the 9 of Wands and the Hermit telling you you're going to need some space, you're going to need some time to recharge, you're going to need some time to take stock of things and to recognize where the triggers are coming up. There's also memories to be made, and memories that are going to be once in a lifetime through the course of December, and you're not going to want to miss those. So again, don't put yourself in positions where you're later going to regret or wish you could extricate yourself from. Now, Jupiter will re-enter Aries on the 20th of the month, so that final square will be in the fiery sign, and of course there's much more of an impulsiveness that's going to come back around in that way as well. Now, your King of Cups comes through water energy, perhaps Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but we talked last month about safe passage, and there's a continuation of that feeling. And regardless of where you may find yourself, to what you are tuned into in terms of the bleakness or the jaded, cynical outlook in regards to something, what I'm being shown here is that there's so much more than meets the eye. There's so much more to this story. There's twists and turns that have yet to be revealed. And you kind of have to feel your way into that. See her headdress made of these sort of octopus tendrils. You have to feel your way through that. And if you can reflect on your own emotional experiences, your own soul journey, because everything here is about the strengthening of trust. You know, the pendulum keeps swinging in one direction or another, and there's like almost a requirement this month for you to just let it come to a standstill, because you have time. You think you don't, but you have time. And I almost feel like Spirit lifting your ship up and out of the water, saying, you know what, you're getting safe passage. You're going to go where you want to go, where is destined for you, Taurus. But there may be a pause, there may be a delay, and that's for your best and highest good right now. Because there's only one ship that can pass through this at a time, and if we try to squeeze you in at the same moment, you're going to suffer, or something that's meant for you or that you're supposed to receive in its totality and its fullness isn't making its way towards you. So please trust in the timing of some of the things that are playing out. And there's always that urgency, isn't there, that comes in the month of December that says, you know, I want to see the results or wrap things up or feel like I can draw a line around something, or that this has come together in the way that I want, especially for the holiday season. And yet there's something about this needing to take the time that it's supposed to, because the journeying of that is showing you something. It's leveling you, it's bringing a sense of humility, but it's also a deep state of presence, so that you don't miss the lesson in this. Okay, you don't want to do anything half-assed this month, yeah. And I know that there's a deep need to sort of want to be all in and to give it your best, but sometimes, you know, we are pushed and pulled in so many directions, and there's so much on our plate that we just have to do what we can, and we just have to know that the intention of what we're trying to do in any given situation, when it comes from a place of purity and from a higher self, and we know it's the right thing, then you know, you're keeping your karma straight here. And even if there are people that still get let down or feel unhappy with you, as long as you can look at yourself and know the intention that's sat behind it, that's the most important thing. In fact, if I can almost say this to you, I want you to be deeply aware of your reactionary responses to everything this month. That's where Spirit really are trying to show you that's the lesson. That's where the growth is. That's where the understanding of how far you've come, not what the outcome is. It's what is your reaction in the day-to-day, moment-to-moment process. And it's safe for you to live, to breathe, to love deeply, unapologetically, wherever you are. Wherever you are. Now, strength comes through and says that we have to find that resolve, that resiliency. There's a certain level of tenacity required in order to juggle and to move and navigate through this final year. And, you know, in that 8th house, there's something kind of mucky going on in terms of what we're having to experience. But life exists, doesn't it, in those sort of heartbeat moments between like the pain and the pleasure. Yeah, and our job is to try to transcend that. And the energy of strength is telling me that you're going to have the ability to do that in multiple ways through the course of this month. Now, as the sun shifts into Capricorn on the 21st, we move into 9th house energy for you, and the solstice happens. I love these energies to work with. It's so important that we take the time to honour and create ritual around them. Solstice, of course, inviting us to align with the changing light, and having that stillness does level us. It brings us back home to ourselves. Now, that's just ahead of the new moon in Capricorn, and there's something really beautiful and powerful and grounded coming in around that time, just ahead of the holiday season, which I think can be very beneficial for you, because it just means that you get clear about the type of experience that you want to have moving into that time. And even if there are things that are in a powerful state of flux around you, even if there's even a sense of a bit of depletion, even a little bit of loneliness or isolation that's going on, at the same time, I feel like you're making peace and you're coming to a very clear decision and understanding about where you're being guided and what's opening up for you. We have to let our devotion be louder than our doubt this month, okay? And your language is changing. I think you're going to notice that incredibly through the month of December. I think you're going to find yourself wanting to say things and then just almost like stopping yourself and saying it in a different way, or not saying anything at all, and actually feeling more at peace and more in balance in your energy because of that. So judgment's coming through. It's been showing up in a lot of the soul stories this month, because it does indicate this major sort of tide change, you know. This is big life decisions that are happening. And the rebirth that comes through for you during Sagittarius season kind of wants a boldness from you. It wants a courage from you. It wants you to have the strength to sort of put yourself first in the dreams that you have, not on hold, but find a way to continue to move them forward. Now, I've been saying that we have fire dragon energy all around us through this month of December, these beautiful celestial beings here now to help us transmute a lot of the denser, heavier, negative energies, open that kundalini, and really support us to find a deeper sense of like inner majesty as we seize the opportunities that are coming up for us. And you have to just keep meeting yourself in the moment. I think there are going to be times in the month of December where you do feel quite judged, Taurus. But regardless of what people decide or the misunderstandings that are taking place or the perceptions that they have about who you are, what you're saying, the actions that you're taking, what really matters is how comfortable you are in your own skin, how at ease you feel with who you are. And for me, Death says there's been this sort of unraveling, this feeling of coming undone through the course of 2022 that you are, as I mentioned at the beginning, now fully coming to terms with. Now this month my Sacred Soul support is going to be focusing on a beautiful 2022 soul review to really help that light body graduation. And in the shadow we're going to be looking at scarcity. So you might want to check these out just to give you additional support as you move through this month, Taurus. Now we're just going to pull your final 3 cards. Just a reminder, if you are new to the channel, we cover these in our extended version of the reading. We'll talk for another 25-30 minutes this month for you into the month ahead. Just going to invite you now to think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread, Taurus. We'll pull some cards around that for you as well. What else is new this month? We're going to have a full love reading as a bonus if you are joining me for all 12 soul stories. And I'm also, in each of the individual extended readings for each sign, going to give you a little bit of a heads up for 2023. We're going to do a message around that as well for you. Okay, so 9 of Wands. Another Judgment coming through. You have a big choice to make this month. The energy of the Empress showing up here. Knight of Wands. Energy of the Tower. Pull one more for that. 4 of Wands, good. Okay. Queen of Cups. We also have the asteroid goddess Ceres shifting into Libra this month. She's bringing in that Empress mothering archetypal energy. And in Libra, of course, she wants balance. And she's really focused on reminding you of the beauty within people, as well as kind of how we surround ourselves aesthetically or materialistically with things. And so important this month to recognize that and find those qualities within yourself and others to bring more compassion and kindness. Remember, my goddess reports are also available for your personal natal chart. You can find those in the comment and description box underneath. We have another strength coming through, so lots of clarified energies. And 8 of Cups. Interesting. Of course, as we move into Capricorn season, that 9th house energy is really expanding your beliefs, you know, and I think there's such a deep sense of remembering, you know. Many of you will already have gone through a powerful awakening through the course of this year, but the remembering of things is coming back with a new level of detail, and I think that's quite powerful for you to really acknowledge. Yeah, you need to trust intuitively in what it is that you're feeling into in that regards. I'm just going to pull some oracle cards for you now for the month of December. So this is Life Soul Vision, my oracle deck. Again, you can check that out over on my website. Thanks so much for everybody who's been investing and sharing your thoughts and feelings and your readings. It's been amazing to see. Okay, you have Spirit Owl, Sacred Secrets. Beautiful. And we're going to pull one from the Priestess of Light. We'll go into a little bit more detail again around these messages in our extended reading. Sensuality, feminine wisdom, passion. It's looking very similar to the sort of depiction of strength card as well, isn't it? And finally, our Angels of Atlantis card. Now, I also have the new angel reading, similar to our goddess reports, again, which is personalized based on your natal chart, and giving you some insight as to how these angelic energies are working and protecting you. Really beautiful report to check out. And you have Archangel Michael, I am presence. Beautiful. Taurus, thanks so much for tuning in, for all your support this year and all of the offerings and the soul stories that I've put out. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a beautiful season. I look forward to continuing this energy conversation if you are joining me for the extended. You take good care, and I'll see you again in 2020.